right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Just a Couple Things, y'all. Your favorite podcast hosted by me, your sister, Jessie Woo. Now, before we get into this episode, please, are you following Just a Couple Things on every platform that streams podcasts? Please, if you are the Apple people, if you listen to your podcast on Apple, go ahead and follow Just a Couple Things. Search for Just a Couple Things, click follow, okay? If you are listening to me on Spotify, go ahead and spot Just a Couple Things, hit follow, and you get the episode first. You get it first, okay? And then, of course, if you're watching these visuals and you're not subscribed, go ahead and change that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can see the visuals, okay? All right, without further ado, let's get into today's episode. I want to go ahead and get into this Diddy documentary on Netflix. I think by now, all of us have watched it, right? All of us have seen it by now. I feel like I gave y'all enough time to catch up, to watch all 4 episodes, and we can go ahead and discuss it now. It came out on the 2nd of December, so last week. And, you know, it's been causing quite of a stir. There have been so many bombshells that were dropped in this documentary. And I just want to talk about the bombshells that stuck out to me the most, okay? But before I start dissecting my thoughts about the documentary, I want to talk about my birthday twin, Mr. Two Quarters. One thing about it, 52 Quarters Jackson is the prime example that leaving a July-born Cancer alone is your best bet. I don't know what y'all be thinking. Like, July-born Cancers are what y'all think male Geminis are. Okay? There's a switch. There is this switch. Like, we can be your best friend. We can love you down. We can be the most caring, the most generous person in your life. But the moment you cross us, it's like this thing goes off, this switch. It's like this switch. And we go from the best thing you ever had to your worst nightmare. Like your biggest nightmare, your biggest op. Like literally, like it's a thing. And what I love about it too is as Cancers, I don't even think that like as Cancers, we seek vengeance. It's like the vengeance seeks us. It's like the universe knows that we're owed the vengeance, and just the universe just starts conspiring. We don't even have to go look for it. We don't even have to seek the vengeance out on you. It just comes. Like it just comes. And when we get our vengeance, it hits so hard that people will really think that you're the one who, you know, mastered the whole thing. And it's like, no, that's just the universe. That's just the power of a Cancer, a July-born Cancer. I really want to tell y'all, please leave July-born Cancers alone. Please leave July-born Cancers alone. That is your best bet. That is your best bet. And Mr. Two Quarters is a prime example of that. I've seen a lot of commentary about how the documentary is very biased and that, you know, it's biased because it's 50 Cent's documentary. And I'm starting to think that people really just don't know the definition of bias. Like, y'all really just don't know the definition of bias. And also, y'all don't understand the structure of producers, production. This isn't even 50 Cent's story that was told. Like, he didn't tell this story. Okay. Now, while yes, 50 Cent is the EP of the project, so a lot of it, you know, a lot of the, I guess like the onus or the blame for whatever people don't like with it is going to fall on him. But also he worked on this alongside Alexandra Stapleton. This is actually really her story. Okay. She directed the way this story was told. And what I like about the way she directed this documentary was she did it in chronological order, which a lot of times documentaries are structured that way. But whatever was told by any victims or any people that showed up in the documentary, what I love about how she presented the story was they'd say something and then she'd provide the receipts. Something was said and she'd provide the receipts. This person illustrated the story that happened and she provided the videos. She provided the notes from the 90s. She provided the binders. She provided the testimonies from back then. Like, she provided every receipt. She didn't just have people come on camera and just say whatever they wanted, right? And that's what I really like about it. It's just, I'm going to tell you these facts in chronological order. I'm going to tell you these stories and let these people say what happened and have things to back it up. And you decide whether you want to believe this or not. And I really appreciated that. And let's talk about biasness for a moment, because if 50 Cent was biased in the making of this documentary, 50 Cent had a huge opportunity here that I don't see much people talking about. 50 Cent could have included his baby mother story in this documentary, and he didn't. And I think, to be honest, that was kind of a missed opportunity, but I see why he didn't do it, because that would definitely be bias. The documentary has this running theme about how Diddy could not just get with a woman. He always had to get with a woman that was somebody else's woman that he was trying to one up, right? Kim Porter was Albie Shore's woman. Albie Shore was the king of Uptown Records at the time, right? He wanted to show that he could get Albie Shore's girl. All right. Eric Sermon, Misa. Eric Sermon was a huge rapper at the time. He wanted to show that he could get Eric Sermon's girl. Same thing with Suge Knight. The whole East Coast, West Coast thing was all about a girl at the center. He wanted to get with Suge's girl to let Suge know that, yeah, you got West Coast, but I got East Coast. And not only do I have East Coast, but East Coast is going to be bigger than West Coast. It was all this shiesty game. I even researched and I found that the mother of the Hood twins. So, you know, he has the twins with Kim Porter, but he also had another daughter that was born the same year. Apparently, the mother of that daughter is Tupac's ex-girlfriend. So there's a long running theme with Diddy, right? It's so clear that when Diddy went after 50 Cent's baby mama, right, it was the same thing. And the fact that 50 Cent did not include that story in this docuseries was insane to me, because later on we get into the trial and allegedly she was one of Diddy's victims. She talked about being with another rapper and how that other rapper was not treating her well. And so here comes Diddy, you know, one-upping. And we know that 50 Cent has posted about Diddy being with the mother of his child. And, you know, if he liked the beat, he could have the beat. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen all that. This is all public information. The fact that he didn't include that in this documentary, to me, I thought was a missed opportunity. That was the perfect opportunity. But also, I like that he didn't do it, because it showed how unbiased he was being in the making of this documentary. I can go in on this man, but I'm going to leave my story out of it. I'm going to tell the stories of his actual victims for real, for real. So in my opinion, it wasn't biased. It was basically, yeah, these are his victims. These are their stories, and we're going to tell their stories, period. We're going to stay focused on their stories, period. Now, while I do really appreciate the structure of the documentary, the storytelling, the people who popped up, I mean, they even had Craig Mack's wife on here. I'm like, what the fuck did y'all find Craig Mack's wife at? Eric Sermon again. I'm like, what was his story? And then when he starts telling his story, I'm like, what the hell?
All this time, me and Misa is still cool. We was just friends. But one time, she just happened to be in my driver's seat of my truck. And all of a sudden, I heard somebody go, and it's him. He's steaming. He swings on me. So I'm laughing, because I'm like, you swung on me? You putting yourself in jeopardy, knowing you can't whoop none of us. So now I'm like, yo, let's go around the corner, because I'm respectful enough. He actually gets in the car and we drive around the corner. So I'm about to give him the business. Shit could have got really ugly. And he just said, yo, sit down, I want you to hear something real quick. And that's when he played in the Biggie Smalls album.
It's all good, baby. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Every Saturday, Rap Attack, Mr. Magic, Molly Mall.
You know, so many people popped up that I didn't expect. While I appreciate the documentary and how it's made, and I also appreciate the interviews that 50 Cent went on CNN, on ABC, Good Morning America. I thought that they were all very good. I don't like how 50 Cent has carried himself online post this. Like, for instance, there is a post that he made about Lil Rod, where he talked about, you know, he congratulated Lil Rod on getting his Grammy nomination. And he was like, you know, I mean, even though Diddy had to touch his butt, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, while I appreciate the docuseries and you telling this man's story, I just didn't like that. Like, this man was SA'd, period. Like, there's nothing funny about that. There's nothing funny about what happened to Lil Rod. And I've seen so many people make fun of that man on social media and even say things like, I don't believe him, when, mind you, there are recordings.
When I think about you in your hats and how talented you are, making me smile, and your fucking smile and everything, and your limp leg.
Like, he played the recordings of Diddy saying things like, I miss your limp leg, Lil Leroy. I miss the way you smile. Like, the mind games that Diddy played with this man. And here you guys are hearing it for yourselves. And y'all are still fixing your mouths to make fun of Lil Rod. I've even seen people make fun of Kirk Burrows. You know, I didn't know who Kirk Burrows was before this. I had no idea that he co-founded Bad Boy. And hearing his story, I've seen people make fun of him. And it just goes to show how 50 Cent, alongside so many people, do not take SA seriously. Not only do you guys not take SA victims seriously, but specifically male victims, the way you all ridicule them. The way you ridicule them, it's insane. When you have Lil Rod being able to provide so many visual receipts, you see the visual receipts of this man playing these mind games, using religion, using TD Jakes in the background, using God to manipulate, dangling his, you know, career in his face. Hey, Lil Rod, you know, we just got nominated for a grant. Not paying this man his $250,000, but, you know, making commentary about his limp leg. Like, you hear it all for yourselves. And then you hear Kirk Burrows' story, which is very verifiable, especially given the fact that Kirk Burrows was actually Diddy's first RICO case, first RICO lawsuit that was thrown out because nobody believed him. He was the first. And y'all will still make fun of these victims. Y'all will still get online and laugh, like, and make fun of this story. Are you okay? Are you okay? It just doesn't sit well with me. Again, I think the docuseries was very well made, but I just don't appreciate the way 50 Cent is carrying himself on social media. And, you know, 50 Cent has a track record with talking about these types of things, and the way he talks about women too. It's just like, grow up. Like, you're 50. You're in your 50s. Grow up. It's time. Grow up. Like, you're getting to enjoy all these big opportunities, and you're getting a chance to platform these victims and their stories. How do you think they feel after doing this documentary, seeing the way that you're talking about a fellow victim? Like, it's assault all over again. It's bad. It's nasty. It's cruel. And yeah, stop. It's weird. It's condescending. It's belittling. It's evil, to be honest. Like, please stop. Final, just initial thought that I have after watching this video. And I know I changed because I'm actually on my way to brunch and I forgot to say this. So I'm back. But watching this Diddy docuseries, it is clear that Diddy is a gay man. Okay. Diddy is a gay man, but being gay is not enough for him. It's not enough. He finds extreme pleasure in essaying men who don't identify as homosexual. There is such power in that for him. Being able to assert himself financially, physically, sexually over men who do not identify as gay. I'm really, really interested in the psychology of that. Like, what is that? What is that frame of mind that he's clearly in, right? And it's not enough for him to assert himself financially, physically, and sexually over men who do not identify as gay, but the pleasure, the joy he finds in using women as decoys for him to have sex with other men. That's a whole other thing too, because when you listen later on to, for instance, the Gigolo, who talked about how he would force Cassie to repeatedly have intercourse with him, right? Beating her up, drugging him, putting stuff within even the baby oil that he would have Cassie rub him down with, right? But the way he would direct Cassie as she was having sex with these men, Diddy wanted to be Cassie. He wanted to be her. Like, he wanted to be her. He wanted to feel what Cassie was feeling. He wanted to feel that penetration. Like, it's so insane when you really just dissect all of that. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for him to essay people like Kirk Barrows. There's no telling what he did to Kirk, because Kirk never gave us the details, and there's no telling what he was able to do to other men, sexually, through SA, right? But just the act of ordering men over and forcing Cassie to have intercourse with these men repeatedly. Oh, do this, do that, lay on him like this, rub him like that, come again, do it again, do it again, do it again. The Gigolo even detailed how Diddy would, alongside Cassie by force, contain their bodily fluids. And how he even told the Gigolo that he would make Cassie drink his body milk. You think Cassie was the only one drinking that man's body milk? Come on now. Let's. You think Cassie was the only person drinking that man's body milk? Diddy is a gay man. Diddy is a gay, destiny-swapping, untalented, unoriginal bitch who, instead of being strong and standing strong in his identity, he's so weak. He's so weak that he has to physically abuse others, women and men, in order to assert himself over them. I'm really interested in the psychology of that. I'm really interested in knowing, like, psychologically, what is that? What is that? Is it patriarchy? Just giving him a child? I don't want to get this motherfucker no grace, but just trying to understand here. Is it like patriarchal? What is that? What is that? Okay, let me go back to my green top. Now, I'm going to go like per episode on like, just the things that I felt stood out to me. So in episode 1, here were a couple things that stood out to me, right? We get to talk about Diddy's upbringing, and we find out that his mother was, very abusive to him as a child, that she beat him senselessly. And, even his childhood friend that was in the docuseries, his childhood friend that also worked at Uptown. I can't remember what the man's name is, but he's all throughout the documentary. He was talking about witnessing some of those beatings, but he also talked about how his mother growing up would dress Diddy in this dandy clothing, right? And it's as if from early age, she was just conditioning him to be a character, to be something that he wasn't. And even when they show off like childhood pictures between Diddy and the childhood friend, and you can see how like when they were kids, the childhood friend is wearing, everyday clothing, but Diddy has on a fur hat, and it's just a lot. And you also learn that the docuseries also educates us on the fact that Diddy grew up thinking that his father was something that his father was not. You know what? Maybe he just made up this character in his head too. He kind of says that. He said that he researched his father's death. So for those of you guys who didn't really catch it, Melvin Earl Combs was Diddy's father, and he was killed. His brains were blown out in Central Park, I believe. And this happened to him because he was thought to be an informant. Now, when I did more research on it, Melvin Earl Combs had a relationship with Frank Lucas. He also had a relationship with Nicky Barnes. These were two big drug lords in New York City at the time. Some of you have seen the Frank Lucas movie, the Blue Magic movie with Denzel Washington, who did an amazing job. I actually thought that was an Oscar-worthy performance. I mean, it was such a good movie, and Denzel Washington really... Anyway, Denzel always is going to bring his A game. But when I did the research, it doesn't tell you that Melvin Earl Combs himself was a drug lord, a gangster. It doesn't tell you that. What you learn is that he was thought to be an informant. And I think that's very key, because later on when we find out how Diddy had the relationships with the drug lords of his time, he had relationships with Zip and Keefe D, who were big time Harlem drug lords. And then he had a relationship with the Crips. And he had these relationships to, give him that street cred that he did not have. He was not a gangster. He was not from the streets. It's funny because I see the correlation between him and his dead father. Just two people who were not who they say they are, who were not who they portrayed themselves to be. I feel like that's something that a lot of people are missing too in this story. So Diddy, in his mind, made up this character when it came to his father that just wasn't true. But he held on to the fact that his mom dressed him up in a full-length chinchilla for his father's funeral, and just this character that he became, that he just wasn't. That wasn't him. Again, in episode 1, they tell you, we get to see how Diddy coming into the game was someone who wanted to be a star from the beginning. He wanted to be a dancer. He was dancing. He was dancing in the videos, like Suge Knight said. So many things connected for me when I watched this docuseries. Because then, I know I'm kind of going off into a tangent, but when you go forward to the Source Awards, and Suge Knight was like, if you don't want to have to worry about your A&R dancing all in the videos, that's what Diddy was doing from the beginning. Sean Puffy Puff, that's what he was doing from the beginning. He was dancing in the videos. That was his talent. He had no other talent. But you know what? Let me retract that. Diddy's biggest talent, when you watch this docuseries, Diddy's biggest talent, in my opinion, was his ability to destiny swap over and over and over and over again. Diddy is just a glorified destiny swapping ass bitch. Just the way he does it so masterful too. You know, we see the story of Uptown. Side note, that's the real documentary. Y'all think this is a documentary? No. The real documentary is Uptown Records. Because it's a lot of things that were left out of this docuseries when it comes to Uptown Records. You know, we learn about Andre Harrell, and those of us who are familiar with the music business, you know who Andre Harrell was. As the docuseries tells you, it was Andre Harrell, it was Russell Simmons. Those two were the big wigs of the hip hop genre. They were the ones who were able to usher you not just into the music, but usher you into the coin. Okay? And you know, we learn how Diddy, at the time, Puffy, wanted to be Heavy D. He wanted to be that dancing ass nigga. Like, Heavy D was a dancing, bopping ass, okay, talented genius. Diddy wanted that. He wanted to be like that. He wanted the swag of Al B. Sure, which is why he wanted to prove that he could get Kim Porter. But back to Andre Harrell, there's a docuseries there. The things that we learn about Diddy, you know, doing things like, hey, Andre Harrell's sending you to go get a tape. And Diddy doing it in like 5 minutes, running down the block, coming back, like just doing the most so that he could be up under Andre Harrell, stalking Heavy D so Heavy D could take him to Andre Harrell, moving into Andre Harrell's home before Andre Harrell did, you know, coming up with that story about getting into a fight with his mom just so he could move into that man's house. Like, and then eventually becoming bigger than Uptown because it got to a point where he just felt he was bigger than Andre. You know, he had A&R Jodeci. That's another story. Like, there are stories that I believe Jodeci has when it comes to Diddy. There are stories I believe Mary J. Blige has. Like, there was even this footage of Mary J. Blige singing Happy Birthday to Diddy in the docuseries that I thought was very strange. I don't know why it just rubbed me very much the wrong way. I feel like she has some dark stories about her time at Uptown and her dealings with Diddy. The Jodeci's of the world. You know, when you just look at all that, the way Diddy was able to infiltrate Uptown, and not because he was talented, but because he did the most, because he made himself so necessary to Andre's process that Andre just could not do anything without him. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a weird relationship between those two. That's the real story. And I think a lot of the things that Diddy eventually would do when he had Bad Boy, he learned from Andre. He had to. He learned from Andre. So I think there is a documentary there. 50 Cent, get on your job, child. And call Mr. Easter. He'll help you. Let him produce it, okay? Learning that when 50 Cent was fired by Andre, he started Bad Boy. And when he started Bad Boy, he put 75% of the company in his mother's name and 25% of the company in Kirk Barrow's name. Mind you, Kirk Barrows worked with him at Uptown. And he saw Kirk's work ethic and he saw how much he needed Kirk. So he brought Kirk over to Bad Boy and gave him 25% in the company, and learning that he did that because he was getting sued left and right from the City College Stampede incident. So that was another thing that I was surprised a lot of people didn't know about. That whole City College Stampede incident that happened. And it was all his fault because he over promoted it on purpose. He knew he did not have the bandwidth for thousands of people, but he didn't care. He wanted it to be the biggest of the biggest events to ever hit New York City. For him, it was always about marketing himself. It wasn't about marketing his artist. He was always the main character. Okay. And several people lose their lives at this event, and he's able to escape all accountability. He does, I'm a young black man doing all I can. Diddy was the first, I'm a young black man doing all I can. God protect me. I just want to live. He was the first, I'm a young black man, always pulling I'm a young black man, the I'm a young black man card. And the way he was able to use that to escape all accountability and then start this record label and not put it in his name, but put it in his mother and in Kirk's name so that those people never got a red cent. That's another running theme. Just the fact that this man has been able for more than 30 years, to escape accountability over and over and over again and do it while not paying. It's incredible when you really think about it. It's just incredible. So episode 2 rolls around, and now we get into the Tupac, Biggie, and Suge Knight of it all. And we learn, I've seen numerous Diddy documentaries, side note. So between me and y'all, to be honest, I wasn't excited about watching this one. I wasn't, because I had seen so many, especially since 2023, since the filing of Cassie's lawsuit. But the way this documentary connected so many dots and did so with so many receipts, it just was incredible to me. The way they laid out the whole Tupac and Biggie story of it all, right? Learning how these two were major fans of each other, especially Tupac. Tupac seeing Biggie and thinking, oh my God, this man is so great. Let me link up with this man. Let's do this as a joint thing, like a joint movement. Thug life isn't just about like thugs, right? It's about like black folks and the black movement and taking what's ours by force, you know? And then you have Biggie, who was not in the streets, had a Jamaican mother who kept him inside the house, provided him with everything he needed. I remember there's a clip like from years ago where Miss Wallace was like, child, the first time I heard his music, I was like, what kind of childhood did you have? Where did you have this child? What childhood was this? This ain't the child. This can't be the childhood I was present for. Okay. But literally, but the same thing can be said for Tupac. Tupac was a ballet dancer. Okay. So you have two men who had very wholesome upbringings. Okay. You have Biggie, who had a Jamaican upbringing, and you have Tupac, who was ballet dancing, who was out there with the Black Panthers, had a very a very wealthy upbringing as far as knowledge was concerned. Black knowledge about who his people are, the Black Americans and what they stand for and everything that they did in this country. And then you have them doing gangster rap. It's just I can't. But the way that the documentary laid out how they both really loved each other and how Diddy became so jealous of their relationship. Because to be honest, if we're keeping it a buck, Diddy was not close to Biggie the way he made it. Okay. Diddy was his A&R, and yes, they were side by side a lot, but Diddy's closeness with Biggie wasn't about genuine friendship. It was about the aesthetics. He wanted that streetism. He wanted the street cred so bad, which is why Biggie would be out there rapping and your A&R is why? Like when you just look back at it, it's like he did all that because he was destiny swapping. And mind you, you're destiny swapping with somebody who wasn't even from the streets like that. But he wanted that street cred so bad. This one was the one for me. To know me is to know my favorite Tupac song is I Get Around. That is my favorite Tupac song. I don't know what it is about that song. The structure, the singing, that scene where you got Tupac I don't know. It's something about that song for me. Ding, 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 that I don't know. It's just, I adore that song. And of course, I love Juicy. It Was All a Dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Of course, you love that. But when they tie those two songs together and you have Kirk letting us know that Diddy was so jealous of what was happening on the West Coast, he was infatuated by Tupac. He fixated on Tupac. And Tupac's I Get Around was his song. And he felt, oh no, we need a response to that song particularly. And his response to that was Biggie's It Was All a Dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. And when you look at the videos, the similarities, that wasn't crazy to y'all? That wasn't crazy to y'all? Watching that? You know what stuck out to me with that particular thing? The fact that another thing this docuseries exposes is that Diddy not only has no talent, not only is he a destiny swapper, but he does not have an original idea. Ever. Ever. Like, the most original he was when he was at Uptown, when he was the one dressing, Jodeci in the saggy pants and the Timberland boots and all that whole look, right? But even that, where did he get that from? It's a documentary about that. He has not one original idea. Not one. Not a one. Even when you think about how bad boy artists, their biggest songs are samples. Diddy was known to sample over and over and over and over again. He was not original. He had not one original idea. Not a one. Just a big old glorified, destiny swapping, unoriginal ass bitch. Like, that is what 50 Cent wants you to know when you are watching this documentary. He wants you to know how Diddy is just a destiny swapping ass bitch. Period. And he ain't wrong. Even going back to episode 1, right, with Diddy's first known assault victim. This was a young lady at the time who was very gorgeous, and she was a model, I believe. I can't recall her name. We learned that she was his first known SA victim, right? And he SA'd her at a party that he was throwing at Andre Harrell's house, right? The way she learns that she's SA'd is weeks later, she's told by someone that, hey, I was at a party. I'm just paraphrasing. I was at a party and Diddy or Puff showed us a video of you and him in very questionable positions. Okay. So you can surmise that it was a video of him essaying her on the tape, and he showed it for people at the parties. And you learn that this is an idea that Puffy got from a drug lord in Harlem at the time. I can't remember his name, but this was something he was famous for. He was famous for throwing these big old parties where nasty things would happen. And one of the things he would do at this party was play videos of him essaying somebody's girl on camera to let the hood know, yeah, y'all thought she was so-and-so's girl. Nah, she mine. She my bitch now. The way he was so unoriginal, even in the way he essayed folks. Like, it is scary. Child, I'm still on episode 2, child. We learn about how Kirk Burrows was forced to give up his 25% of Bad Boy. And, his story is all over the documentary. It's scattered all over the documentary, so the timeline of it can be a little confusing if you're not paying attention. But I'm going to connect his story with the other episodes as well. But Kirk Burrows, who is the co-owner of Bad Boy, right? He educates us on how one day while he's in his office, Diddy comes in there with a baseball bat and tells him, sign this. I need my 25% back. And don't worry about it. I'm going to give it back to you. I'm going to give it back to you, but I need it now. I need it now, right? And he does this while swinging a baseball bat in his face. And Kirk is like, no. And he's like, you're going to do this. You are going to do this. And eventually Kirk does what he's being instructed of. And I saw a lot of people saying, oh, so you just gave it to him? Like, this is Puffy, right? Who is doing this to him. Now, fast forward in the docuseries, we get more of the timeline. Okay? This is after Puffy successfully, seemingly allegedly, orchestrates the death of Tupac Shakur. Now, a couple things happened, right? Number one, there is this back and forth with Suge Knight, right? Puffy wants what Suge Knight has, which is the real street cred, right? We know Suge Knight is from the streets for real. And he wants that. He wants that credibility, but he's not going to have that, right? He ain't no Suge, right? And, but the way he wants to one up Suge is by sleeping with Suge's girlfriend, right? And so how he does this is he coerces her by sending her a $50,000 ring. Mind you, at the time, this is the early days of Bad Boy. You have Craig Mack, who has, here comes a brand new flavor in your ear. You have Craig Mack's wife in the docuseries letting us know how not only did Craig Mack not have any money to his name, we're talking about Grammy-nominated Craig Mack, no money to his name. They were so poor, they were living with her father, right? There comes a time when they're at a party. They are at a party and Craig Mack sees Diddy, or Puffy at the time. Craig Mack is telling Puffy, man, I'm fucked up, dog. I ain't got no money. Can I get some money, please? Like, I can't feed my wife. Like, we're at her daddy house. Like, I can't feed my kids. Like, I know you got it. You got the coin. And Puffy at this party takes out a big old wad of money, thousands of dollars just in his hand, and flips through it, takes out $100 bill. Okay. You have his wife detailing that. His wife is detailing that on camera in the docuseries. And then you have Kirk explaining how Kirk and the other guy, the childhood friend guy who also worked at Uptown, they're detailing how a lot of the business practices at Bad Boy were things that Puffy learned from Andre Harrell. What Puffy would always make sure would happen when it came to these artists is that they would only see their advance. They would only see their advance money, right? So imagine back in that time, like, this is the 90s, right? And you're getting an advance check of like 100,000, 200,000. That's a lot of money in your mind, right? Especially back then. That's a lot of money, right? And so he's enticing you with this advance, like, this is your advance. Don't worry, it's going to be more to come. You as the artist are not knowing that this man is charging you to breathe. At Bad Boy, they had Big Daddy's house, or Daddy's house, right? Which was the in-house studio. Diddy was charging his artists to use the in-house studio. The in-house studio. I just want y'all to just think about that. The in-house studio. Now, I understand charging for the production, like producers are coming in, but a lot of times the producers that were working at Bad Boy, they were the hitmen. They were signed to Bad Boy. So there's really they're already being paid. They're on payroll already to do this, right? So not only, the way he set up his business was so nasty. Kirk even discloses how if Diddy showed up to your video shoot, he paid himself for that. He paid himself for that. So the driver that would drive him there, he made you pay for that. His clothing, you paid for that. His haircut that he would get on set, you paid for that. His appearance, you paid for that. So I just want you to think, all those times that Biggie was on stage and his A&R was on stage with him, dancing, all in the videos, Biggie had to pay for that. Biggie was charged for that. So if Diddy was on the road with Puffy, he was paying Puffy to do that. Okay? Now, back to the setup of the whole Tupac death, right? We come to find out that this was a job by Diddy, the Harlem drug lord Zip, and the other Harlem drug lord Keefe D, right? So at the time, Diddy so wanted to be like the West Coast. He hired these Crips and these drug lords and to give him protection in the streets, right? And then he starts wooing Keefe D, right? Keefe D, he meets through Zip. And he's taking Keefe D on the road. He's inviting him to shows. And he's like, yo, $1 million. $1 million for Suge and Tupac. So $500,000 each, right? And lo and behold and lo, at the Tyson fight, you have Zip transporting the weapons that were used by car from New York to Las Vegas, putting those weapons in Keefe D's hand, as well as, I believe, his nephew or his cousin. Hold on. His nephew, Orlando. Okay. So you have Keefe D setting up Orlando to get into an altercation with Tupac, right? Things escalate, and you have them basically using these women as a diversion to get Tupac and Suge's attention while they're at a stoplight, right? And then boom, that's when they make the hit. And all of this is not just things that Kirk is saying. You actually hear old testimony, old recordings of Keefe D telling the Los Angeles police, this is how we did what we did, right? And then fast forward a couple months later, you have Diddy who convinces Biggie to spend time in LA post Tupac's death at a time where Biggie is receiving so many death threats. Nah, man, we gonna Diddy bop. We gonna Diddy bop all through these LA streets to let these people know we ain't scared. Why? You have Biggie that's like, why? Why must we do this? Why must we do this? You know, you have Kirk, who, by the way, is so confused because Biggie was supposed to just go to the award show at the time. I can't remember what award show it was, but Biggie was supposed to go to the award show, and then the next morning was supposed to fly to London because he had European press. This is the 90s. European press for Mr. Give Me the Loot, Give Me the Loot. This is crazy. Like the way he was about to reach a whole other level of stardom, right? But you have Kirk who arranged all this. He's showing you the paperwork. He's showing you the notations from back in the, they're putting all this on screen. And you have Kirk talking to Big like, hey, what are you doing in LA? Like, and Big is like, I don't know, man. Puff is telling me I have to stay here. I don't want to. I want to go. And there's been interviews with Miss Wallace where she says her last conversation with her son was him telling her he didn't want to be there. And she tells him, I don't want you to be there either. I don't want you to be there either. You have Kirk Barrows who calls Puffy and says, Puffy, yo, he has this whole European, press tour lined up. I spent months putting this together. We're finally here. And Puff hangs up on him and tells him he's staying here in LA with me, period. Hangs up on him. He dies. So going back to the scene or the moment where Kirk Barrows details Puffy coming into his office, threatening him with a baseball bat. If you were Kirk Barrows, you would sign too. You saw this man basically kill Biggie and Tupac. Tried to kill Suge Knight too, but apparently that didn't work, right? He survived. Oh, and mind you, the $1 million never made it to Keefy D. Because Diddy ain't paying you. He ain't paying you. Never made it to Keefy D. Never got his coin. Okay? Diddy was never investigated. This is a man who was able to escape how many things by then? This is also the man who will go on to throw Shine under the bus and get Shine to spend 10 years in prison for something that he did. The Shine story comes up too, but I think we know the Shine story. We don't need to discuss that, right? But I just want you to keep in mind, this is the man that's swinging a baseball bat in Kirk Barrows' face, telling him that he needs his 25% back. Okay? You'd sign it too. Because even if Kirk made it out of that office, even if Kirk came out of that office swinging, there's no telling what the next run-in was going to be. Okay? And mind you, this comes 90 days after Biggie passes away. You had Rolling Stone, who had a Rolling Stone cover aligned for Biggie. I mean, it's crazy. You had Rolling Stone who had a cover aligned for Biggie before Biggie passed away. So now they were going to honor him in postmortem with a Rolling Stone cover. And you have Kirk sending in all the deliverables, all the pictures, all the storytelling into the magazine for them to do this. And you have Puffy saying, nah, take that back. My solo album is coming out. I need that cover. Oh, and on top of that, after Biggie's passing, you have Sean basically orchestrating that Kirk change Biggie's contract. Mind you, before Biggie passed away, he was in negotiations with his contract and he successfully got Diddy to give him everything he asked for. So he was going to be the first Bad Boy artist to have a good contract at Bad Boy. But once he passes away, what does Diddy do? Diddy goes to Kirk. Hey, I need you to change this around. I need you to change this around and make it more favorable to us. Kirk says, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. Right? He gets fired. He gets fired with a baseball bat in his face, and he's made to leave his 25% behind. It's the way Sean, Puffy, Puff Daddy, Puff, Brother Love, Diddy never truly mourned Biggie for me. That's something else that really sticks out when you watch this docuseries, and it was put together so well because when you watch it and also when you go back in time and you just look at the dates and you look at everything, right? P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Brother Love, Combs, Sean set Biggie up with that whole Peace in the Streets tour. For what? This man was supposed to be promoting his album. Why are you having him promoting Peace in the Streets in LA for? For what? For what? Right? And then you learn once again that Kirk Burrows had a whole European leg of a promo tour built out for Biggie that he planned out for months. Okay? And the day he's supposed to fly out, you have Puffy ignoring him, hanging up on him. You have Biggie telling him, hey, I don't know why Puffy has me here. I want to leave, right? But then it's the setup to get Biggie assassinated. And then immediately we're Diddy bopping on the MTV Music Awards stage. Every step I take. We just in true Sean Puffy Puff Daddy Brother Love Combs style, because remember when he released that song, he didn't get permission from Sting. He didn't get permission from Police. I'm sorry. That was the group that Sting was a part of that had the song Every Step You Take. He just, remember, Diddy is a destiny swapping, untalented, unoriginal ass bitch. He releases the song, doesn't get it sampled correctly, doesn't get the legal things in order for him to have permission to use that song. The only person who has ever gotten a huge payday as an artist from Diddy is Sting, is Police, the group that sang Every Step You Take. A white man. Mind you, Diddy has a young black man. I'm a young black man doing all I can for my people, right? Black liberation, making sure that black artists get paid. None of his artists have ever seen the payday that Sting got. Sting gets paid $2,000 per day till this day for that song in royalties. No bad boy artist has ever gotten a deal like that. Look up how many big songs, how many number ones under the bad boy umbrella there is. None of his black artists have that. Ain't that some bull? Ain't that some bull? And then on top of that, to top it off, we learned that this man charged Biggie's funeral to Biggie's estate post-mortem. And let me say this. Anybody who's even trying to argue that, please look up interviews with Miss Wallace. Please look up interviews with Biggie's daughter. Matter of fact, even if you don't look up their interviews, did they look like they was getting royalties? Did they speak like they were getting royalties? You know, RIP to Miss Wallace, but please, I believe every word. I don't give a fuck what Lauren LaRosa, what the ladies got to say, girl. Shout out to you. You're doing a great job. But girl, I don't care who the estate person that's in charge. Plot twist, Diddy's the estate owner. Please. Like, please. I believe every word Kirk Burrows says. Every word. I believe. Hey! Every word. And it's not hard to charge Biggie's funeral to his estate and not make it say funeral. I'm pretty sure when Diddy was charging his artists for him being present at their photo shoots, just him pulling up to their photo shoots, just him pulling up to their video shoots, I'm pretty sure when he would charge them, it wouldn't say Diddy Puffy Puff Combs showed up to your video shoot. No, there are ways to do that, accounting wise. And let's just keep it a buck. You're the artist on Bad Boy at the time. Who's representing you? Who's doing your legal paperwork? You've already signed a BS deal. I believe every word. To charge that man post-mortem for that fume is insane work, and I believe Every word. Every word. Every word.
And let me just say this, I'm just looking at the Rolling Stone cover that I have on the screen right now, and these pictures that follow, I believe, are outtakes from the cover shoot, but I never got the hype. Like, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, like, what is this photo right here? Like, what is this? Imagine killing Biggie, like literally like setting up Biggie to die for these photos. Like, what is going on? I never thought this man looked handsome. I always thought he like a little cute hamster at the most. Never got the hype.
Later on, this is much later, fast forward to episode 4, we learned that not only was Kirk a victim financially of Diddy's, but we learned that he was also SA'd by Diddy too. He also tells a story just earlier in the docuseries too about how there was one time that Puffy kept calling him on the phone. Hey, come into my office real quick. Come to my office real quick. And he's thinking it's an emergency. He gets there and it's a girl giving Diddy fellatio. And he's like, oh, I just wanted you to see this. The harassment, the grooming. You can't convince me he didn't learn that from Andre Harrell. Can't convince me. It is my opinion. It is my strong opinion that was learned behavior. And I'm not saying that to absolve him of responsibility because Diddy is indeed a monster. But there's no telling what he experienced with Andre Harrell. No telling. No telling. Something else that really stuck out to me watching this docuseries is it was very clear that Diddy in 2024, September 2024, really in his mind, he knew he was going to get off. He wasn't going to jail. Going back to the beginning of the docuseries, just the audacity to have someone follow you around New York City. The audacity to have somebody follow you around New York City as you're waiting to go, into prison. The phone calls with his lawyer, where he is instructing his lawyer on hiring somebody, anybody, specifically somebody who's not even from this country, who is good in dealing with the bad, rugged, nasty business of, public perception. Instructing his team of lawyers basically to hire somebody to push false narratives. Like doing all this on camera. You can tell Diddy was shooting his own docuseries. And I think it came forward, it came to light that Diddy actually did have an agreement or something in the works with Netflix, but Netflix didn't want him to have creative control. Netflix knew what time it was, right? They didn't want him to have creative control, so he didn't want to give it to Netflix, right? And so he hires this videographer, and we can all surmise just by knowing Diddy, we all know he didn't pay this videographer, because how else would 50 Cent get this footage? The footage is so damaging. It's so damaging. It's so damaging. Him in this hotel room telling his lawyers how he needs to win by any means, even if he has to play the game dirty. Like, it's crazy. Fast forward to episode 3. At the top of episode 3, he's on the phone with Baby Love's baby mama. Baby Love's mama, Dana Tran. He love him a Asian girly, don't he? Side note, I know later on we get into the Cassie and the Kim Porter of it all, but did y'all notice how Kim Porter's story was told very surface level? Like, we learned a lot. We learned some things, but nothing new. Nothing new, really. Very surface level. And I was expecting more like conspiracy theories, but again, I think that 50 Cent and Alexandra did a good job of this not being biased and not being irresponsible, because nothing really has been substantiated. But I was just thinking, I'll be sure it's in this. I was thinking he was going to sing like a canary. Albie Shore also has accused P. Diddy of being responsible for him going to the hospital. He's also alluded to Diddy being responsible for several deaths in the industry so that he would be the last man standing. So I was thinking he was going to come in here and let loose when it came to Kim Porter's story, but he didn't. So there's really nothing to discuss there. But going back to his conversation with Dana Tran about how he was going to the bank to move $200 million late night because they're keeping the bank open for him, right? And then we see him go into Harlem.
To be honest with you, Sean was uncomfortable around so many black people. It was only when he needed them that he felt comfortable enough.
Side note, before I get into the Harlem story too, they did briefly talk about the whole Steve Stout situation, which is not new. If you're familiar with Diddy's story, you know how he basically beat the brakes off of Steve Stout because Steve Stout wouldn't take the "You Can Hate Me Now" video down after Hezekiah Walker convinced Diddy that the video was not Christian-like, right? Because Diddy was such a good Christian. We're gonna get into that. Such a good Christian boy, right?
I don't want to be like figuring out just now y'all witnessing Jesus walking on water. You know what I'm saying? Because I can only compare myself to the Son of God.
But again, I want to bring that up again because this coincides with the person who was in the office swinging a baseball bat in Kirk Burroughs' face. Okay? But anyway, going back to his visit to Harlem, that visit that he made to Harlem, and you see Jim Jones in the background. That visit to Harlem where he wanted to be around his people, and it's just insane to me how self-incriminating. You know when your audacity is extreme. Like, it's just extreme. You know you're being taped. You know you're being videographed, right? Yet you're talking about being around, I want to be around my people. You know, I'm a young black man. You're amongst your black people in Harlem. And you're hugging them, you're taking pictures. And the moment he got back in the car, he talked about needing a scorching, boiling hot bath because those disgusting, dirty black people were touching him.
Yeah, I gotta take a bath. It's time to cleanse. I gotta go under the water. The water gotta be boiling hot. Put some peroxide in that.
You know what's crazy? I found one of the girls who was in the documentary. She posted this.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
She posted this on her Instagram. Proud to post the moment before Diddy called you a dirty ass piece of black shit. But she still posted this because she just was so proud. Like, y'all are so fucking weird. Like, there's a reason why it's not, when you look at these monsters, it's not just the monster shit that they do. It's the people they have around them. And I like that Kirk Burroughs took responsibility for that throughout the episodes. He said, you know what? Maybe I was his first disciple. I'm the godfather of his firstborn son. I became the godfather of his first son after witnessing him beat the brakes off of Misa Hilton numerous times. He was never held accountable by anyone, including me. I love how he took accountability for that. It's those types of people, and then it's this loser ass bitch posting this shit. Like, y'all are such losers. That's why people like Diddy, like, y'all are kind of the reason, like, you're half of the reason why. It's the people who don't hold you accountable, and it's the people who stand in awe of your disgustingness. Because in her mind, she's posting this like, wow, like, I hope to be as powerful and disgusting as Diddy one day. Posting this after seeing this man talk about how dirty y'all were, so dirty that he needed a scorching bath. And mind you, I love how the documentary put that footage up as his old bodyguard was talking about the only time you see Diddy pulling the black card is when he needs black folks. It's kind of like a politician. It was never about the liberation of black folks. It's never, oh, my people this, my people that. It's about him getting rich off of the backs of black people. And you saw him do this time and time again, not just in this docuseries, but just in real life. That's what he does. That's what he does. And a lot of the black folks who hold him in such high esteem, they do that because they too one day hope to be able to do that. That's a whole other conversation. But I believe with every part of me that people who see folks like Diddy and they see their business practices, like we didn't even need to know about the Cassie and the Kim Porters, just his business practices alone. When you see black folks praising billionaires, it is because they too one day want to be able to make so much money off of the backs of other black folks, even if it means mistreating them, even if it means stealing from them, even if it means essaying them, even if it means like they don't care. They want to have that power over other black folks. It's not about black liberation, black excellence, the whole black excellence thing that Diddy coined for so many years. It was never about seeing other black people be excellent. It's about me as a black person using your excellence as another black person and being able to exploit that. That's the power. The power is the black excellence. It had nothing to do with liberating other black people and looking out for other black people, but everything to do with shitting on other black folks so that you can get to the top of those black folks. And y'all will praise that because you too want to be able to do that. Clock that. Kalina. My goodness. You loser ass bitch. You know, it's always Black Women's Month. I love Black women's, you know that. But just because I love Black women's doesn't mean that I have to tolerate Black women's being disgusting. It doesn't mean that I have to look out for other trash ass Black women. Kalina is the epitome of a trash human being. And I feel bad for her because when she tells her story of dirty money, even as she details the first time she gets to Diddy's house and Diddy comes out in his underwear, it's clear that he was grooming her as well, but Don won the grooming war. And let me be very clear here. While I don't think that Don was a willing participant, I think Don, having experienced Puffy from making the band, Don knew what type of person she was dealing with. And so Don did what she had to do to survive and to get to live out her dreams. Okay? Again, I don't think she was a willing participant, but I think Don went through many years of grooming before Dirty Money. Okay, we're going to get into the whole making the band of it all. Side note, Day 26 popped up and I expected them to say way more. Wasn't there an interview of them last year or earlier this year crying in an interview? I thought they was going to get on this docuseries and let it rip. Especially Q. I was ready for him to sing like a canary and they didn't. I thought that was really strange. Like, what happened with that? We did see Babs. We did see some other folks, but what was Dylon? Where was Dylon? What was Dylon? There was so many people missing. Sarah, she filed a lawsuit, I believe, too, didn't she? Against Diddy? The way Kalina spoke about Don as her bandmate was crazy to me. Is it me or the way Kalina spoke about Dawn it gave jealousy almost. Walk with me. Just walk with me for a moment. When she said that Diddy and Dawn had this unspoken thing that they would do, that kind of like they just spoke their own language, it kind of gave that Kalina felt excluded. And listen, I've never been in a group, but I know I'm familiar with the dynamics of groups, right? That sometimes certain people are treated better, or it's perceived that this person is being treated better than other people within the group. And I feel that Kalina felt that about Dawn based on the way she spoke about her. I feel that she had more smoke for Dawn than she had smoke for Diddy. And it was weird to me, especially considering that later on, we see Diddy, who is self-taping himself, because in his mind, he's going to have the greatest comeback. You know, God told him not to do anything. God told me to stay still. Not like, it's insane. Like, it is insane seeing this man talk about what God told him not to do. Mind you, you're in the middle of a RICO case where you have been found to be drugging people, essaying people, et cetera, et cetera. There's all these other cases down the pipeline that are going to financially destroy you. Okay? But God told him to be still. And we see him in real time get the phone call, or was it a phone call, or he saw it for himself that Don filed an essay lawsuit against him. And the first person he calls is Kalina. And the way Kalina is like, what? She did what? She did what? She did, Dawn did what? The way she starts shitting on Dawn immediately, girl. Mind you, you're the same one who's telling us how this man was always drugged up. He was always laced up. You didn't know him to be sober. That he had a lot of questionable behavior with Dawn. And one of the things that made it questionable wasn't just that she was his bandmate, but the fact that Cassie was also there. And that was questionable. You talked about, like, she gave us a lot of insight on Kim and Cassie's dynamic. How Kim would be like, oh, I ain't doing this today. Kim was that bitch. Whole time, Kim was getting knocked in between the washer and dryer. Like, Kalina talks out of both sides of her neck. It's really weird. Dawn did what? Dawn did what? Like, she has Diddy's back. And come to find out, lo and behold and lo, Kalina was willing to sell Dawn up the river for $5,000 she never got. You have Diddy pleading with Kalina to make a statement. I need you to make a statement. I need you to make a statement, which proves what prosecutors were saying about Diddy meddling with witnesses. He is videotaping himself meddling with witnesses, which is against the law. Against the law. He's videotaping himself doing it. Why? He's filming himself doing it. Why? Because he's Diddy. He's going to get off. He's going to get off in his mind. I need you to make a statement. Pressuring her to make a statement. And she's doing this hoping that he will finally give her the $5,000 she had asked him for months prior. Because come to find out, lo and behold and lo, Kalina is in a custody battle where she needed $5,000 for representation. Mind you, $5,000 for representation, that's not going to get you far. Couldn't get far. It's not going to get you far. But she's just asking for a little piece of change from a billionaire, from a man who's about to move $200 million the night before. And that man told her no. Sorry, can't do that for you. I'm busy right now. That same man, she then goes and makes the public statement for. Shitting on Don. Mind you, did you finally get the $5,000? Kalina, did you finally get the $5,000, you loser ass bitch? What a loser. And it's sad because, like, I have grace for her in the sense that this woman was part of Dirty Money. Side note, I feel like I'm one of the only people who never got into Dirty Money. Hello, Good Morning was cool, but I never got into Dirty Money. I thought it was just noisy. I'm so sorry. And also, I was never like a Diddy fan like that. I never bought his music. I never bought into that. It's funny now watching this docuseries and watching people like Mark Curry talk about how to get to the lengths they'd have to go through to write raps for Diddy and to get him to be believable, to get him to deliver it in a way that was believable.
That was my version, right? He go, hear my cries, hear my calls, leave me here. See my faults, see my errors, know my false time halts.
Remix, get my man, remake, hit the high thing that they get on your radio. It's the bad boy.
I'm like, oh yeah, okay, so I was right. I never got into this man's music. I mean, you know, the hits, yeah, the radio hits, I'm coming, you know, but remember, these were all samples. Not an original bone in his body. Couldn't write his own raps. A destiny swapping ass bitch. A destiny swapping unoriginal ass bitch. All those flows were Mark Curry's flows. And even Mark Curry couldn't get paid for that. Right? But girl, did you get the $5,000? I have grace for her in a sense that it's really messed up. She was part of Dirty Money. And yet she can't even afford $5,000 to defend herself in court in order to get her children. The way this man just destroys people's lives and livelihood. It's so scary. So scary. So scary. Side note, I know I kind of passed this discussion, but going back to Diddy orchestrating the destiny swap that took Biggie off the Rolling Stone cover in order for him to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Can we talk about that for a minute? Because now with adult eyes, it's so clear Diddy never even mourned Biggie's death. It was Biggie dies, I'm on top. Every step I take, oh Lord. Like Diddy bopping, dancing on every award show, stage. You want to talk about destiny swapping? I know that term is so popular now, but nah, this was destiny swapping at its finest. This was destiny swapping at its finest. To set up, orchestrate that man to be killed. According to Keefe D. Okay? According to this docuseries, according to Kirk Burrows, who was able to let you know that he had organized for Biggie to be in London, for him to commence his European leg of his, promotional tour. No. Diddy wanted him to do Peace in the Streets tour and do it in LA where everybody was sending him death threats. Boom, he dies. Oh, nah, I'm gonna need that Rolling Stone cover because my album coming out. And that whole album was off of Biggie's back. In Biggie's memory. Just like, it's just so disgusting when you think about it. Just the way he was just dancing and just carrying on and every step I take, oh Lord, where is Faith Evans? Y'all couldn't get Faith Evans on the top. Y'all couldn't get Faith Evans on the line. She ain't have nothing to say about that.
So in her memoir, Faith Evans actually details telling Puff that she did not want to perform this song at award shows. Now, she did the song. She said, I did the song, I did the video, but I'm not ready for that kind of performance. She told Cheryl, and Cheryl responded, you know, Puff's not trying to hear that, right? And so now she gets to Puff and she says, Puff, I'm not ready. He says, you're not ready, he yelled. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm still trying to get my shit together. Look, we here, we gotta live. We have a hit song right now and we need to perform it together. If you're not ready, get ready. Okay? Like that was Puff's career. That was Puff's response to her. And he even threatened her career. So yeah, that was Faith Evans's experience. And I'm wondering why the fuck she wasn't in this docuseries to talk about it.
Let's talk about Aubrey O'Day. You know what's crazy? For the last 20 years, that lady was holding back a lot.
There are emails with pictures of his penis.
When she was able to pull up those emails, and I'm sorry, I know this is not funny, but why was she reading them emails like that? I'd like to think that Aubrey had been singing like a canary for over 20 years, but no, sis had a whole lot of more ammunition in the tank. When she was able to pull up those emails, this is not funny, I know, but because this is a serious situation. But can we talk about Aubrey, the way she was reading them emails? Like, what was... If you change your mind, like, what?
I'm gonna finish watching this porn and finish math. If you change your mind and get ready to do what I say, hit me.
Aubrey, you ain't had to read them emails like that. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. When she was reading the emails, I was like, what is my sister doing? Like, Aubrey, just read the emails in your voice, sister. What's going on? But the way he was not only grooming her in person, but basically trying to groom her via email, and then God bless, God is the greatest. What? See, that's why everybody who says God, God, God ain't going to heaven. Jesus said that. This is biblical. When Jesus said it ain't everybody who be saying God, God, God that's going to heaven, he wasn't lying. Well, he can't lie. He the son of God. Hallelujah. Okay? Alléluia, alléluia, Jésus c'est roi dans la vie moi. He can't lie. He the son of God. He can't lie. But every day y'all prove Jesus to be a truth teller. Because ain't no way I'm sending an email to my artists where I am offering to essay them. And I'm going to conclude that email with God is the greatest, God bless. What? Diddy didn't get enough years. I'm so sorry. Put him back. Like put him back. I know he in there still, but put his ass back in there. He not getting enough years for me. This is diabolical. And then come to find out, lo and behold and lo, you know, Aubrey in her mind thought that she escaped, you know, but come to find out, somebody actually witnessed her being SA'd, and in the worst of ways. In the worst of ways. She was beyond inebriated, and you have Diddy and his bodyguard tag teaming her. And the witness that saw this was a Diddy victim. She was walking through Daddy's house, trying to find a bathroom, and she stumbles across Aubrey. And you know what's so crazy? When you look back at how Aubrey was treated in Danny Kane, this man had the world hating Aubrey. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember how Diddy had the world hating Aubrey O'Day, calling her promiscuous, like basically putting that Scarlet's letter on her and on her reputation, destroying her reputation, making her the laughingstock, making her a punching bag, all because he could not have his way with that girl. But lo and behold and lo, we find out he did have his way with her forcibly. It's insane. Lil Rod's story, which I was already familiar with because I've read the lawsuit and everything, and the lawsuit was insane. Side note, did y'all see how they kept blurring out Carisha's face? Did 50 Cent do that because Carisha was, Meech, where's my husband? We know she blessed him with that one moment. Meech, where's my husband? You know what bothers me about Lil Rod's case, and I talked about it before earlier in this, but it's the way that once again you see Diddy using the Lord, using God. We all know how TD Jakes' name came up in some of these Diddy accusations, right? And here you see TD Jakes in the background a lot. And if you paid attention to the trial, allegedly 50 Cent's baby mama, allegedly, because we don't know that's her, but 50 Cent let us know that it was her. When she was testifying, she would testify about how Diddy used God a lot to manipulate Jesus this, Jesus that. And even in this docuseries, his own footage that he orchestrated. Oh, God told me not to do nothing. God told me not to do nothing. Did God tell you to lace up baby oil and drug people? Did he tell you to, do what you did to Lil Rod to where he would wake up sore in the butt? So were those the things that God was telling you to do? Did God tell you to beat women? Did God tell you to assault women? Did God tell you to steal from people? Did God tell you to get Tupac and Biggie killed? And finally, when you getting caught, God told you to not say nothing? That's why the Bible says, that's why Jesus said it's not everybody who says God, 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 God that's going to heaven. Y'all are going to hell. Y'all are going to hell for using God's name like that. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. That's why these people who be using God for content and all that, I don't buy into it. Y'all be the most demonic. Just using God's name like that. And then so many of you are so foolish. The minute you hear somebody using God, oh, they're a woman of God. They're a man of God. You know if a man is a man of God by his fruits. What fruit? What fruit has Sean P. Diddy, Puffy, Sean Combs, Diddy, Boppin' has ever produced that was godly? Lil Rod talking about how he would walk in on Christian and his dad doing these freak offs. And see, that's why Christian and Lil Diddy, they both need to be locked up too. Lock their ass up. And it's so crazy. You know what's so crazy about Christian specifically? Didn't Christian have a promising football career ahead of him? Wasn't he playing football at USC or something like that? Doing very, very well. I think there was an incident where Diddy beat up his coach or something like that. Or maybe threatened to beat up his coach. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. But a promising football career. There's no telling the grooming process that his two sons have gone through. I don't even want to get into the daughters. I remember there was one interview Q did from Day 26 where he said he woke up in the twins' bedroom one time, sore, just mirroring Lil Rod's story. But what was most disturbing to me was not even the whole essay of the situation, which is very disturbing, right? Very disturbing. The way he essayed Lil Rod, and Lil Rod would be waking up sore in his lower parts. And then there were days where he would wake up in bed with Diddy, not understanding how he ended up there, not knowing what happened before he fell asleep, right? Also in his lawsuit, he did allege that Carisha and 50 Cent's baby mama were Diddy's girls who he would use to get these folks, to trap folks into doing these freak offs. He alleged that. I believe it. And if you pay attention to this footage and you see who's being blurred out, okay, it was for me the audacity that Diddy had in not paying this man. Just the audacity this man had in just not paying Lil Rod for me. $250,000. This man spent more than a year working with you on this album. And is it me or Lil Rod mirrored Mark Curry, where they both talk about just how untalented Diddy is?
8 bars took us probably 7 months to record.
Cry for you. No. Come on, yes.
That footage that they had showing how Lil Rod was recording Diddy while he recorded a verse. He said it took him, I believe, 8 months to record this one verse. And Diddy is filming this. And you see how he's struggling to get through one verse. No talent. Just a destiny swapping, untalented, unoriginal ass bitch. And then to have the audacity to not pay this man. And then the voice notes of him telling Lil Rod how he missed him. I miss your limp leg. I miss your smile. Then the voice notes of him saying, I don't want no problems with you. I just don't got it right now. I just don't got, you get $250,000. You know what's crazy in all of this? Had Diddy paid the videographer, we wouldn't have the footage that we have for this docuseries. 50 Cent wouldn't have been able to have that footage for the docuseries. Had Diddy paid Cassie, we would have never heard. We would have never gotten that lawsuit. Now, I don't know if we would have ever seen the footage from the hotel, but even the footage from the hotel, I believe he paid like 6 figures for that. It should have been way more. For you to hide footage like that, all he did was pay a little 6-figure, I think it was 6 figures or even less than that. Let me see how much he paid for this. Hold on. So apparently Diddy paid $100,000 for that Intercontinental Hotel footage, which, by the way, in my opinion, that's nothing. That's nothing. You should have paid way more than that. You're Diddy. Should have paid way more than that. He just paid in cash and threats. Had you paid Kirk Burrows wouldn't be on here talking about this shit. Had you paid Lil Rod, most likely we would have never heard of this. That man would have took his money and went on about his business. He's a weirdo, went on about his business. But you do all this, these heinous things, and in your mind, you're so high and mighty that you don't even have to pay these people to shut up. That's insane to me. The jurors, I think that's the last thing I want to talk about. Those jurors, especially the black woman, juror 160, I think her name was in the docuseries. The way Diddy himself couldn't beat that information out of me, for her to come on the docuseries and admit to not believing Capricorn Clark's testimony, all because Capricorn Clark was emotional. Mind you, Capricorn Clark tells the story of how she was kidnapped at gunpoint by Diddy and forced to go with him to Kid Cudi's house to commit murder. This is a story that was confirmed by Cassie and Kid Cudi, and I believe Cassie's mother as well, who also testified about how she had to take a loan out Wire the money from the loan she took out. Wire it to Diddy's business account in order to stop him from releasing very questionable footage about her daughter. Very questionable footage of her daughter. These jurors heard, I believe how many gigolos did they hear from? Talk about how they witnessed Diddy beating the brakes off of Cassie repeatedly. How they too were drugged by him. How even the baby oil was laced. Side note, that very hotel that Diddy was filming himself in September 2024, that hotel had laced baby oil in it. So even as Diddy was waiting to go into custody and await trial, he was still having freak-offs. These are all things that the jurors heard. That one black juror that came on, girl, the way I would have sat this out, the way she admitted to the fact that even though the judge would instruct Diddy not to make eye contact, and she's like, oh, he didn't make no eye contact. But then she goes on to describe him making eye contact with them, especially her.
It's funny because I remember that nod watching Making of the Band. Like, he would do that often. I think that's just his go-to.
And how she smiled, she's grinning from ear to ear about this.
Because I had the same facial expressions that he did at times when it was something that someone said and it's like, that didn't make much sense.
The way she admitted to him looking at them and like, oh, y'all. And then being like, yeah, I don't... You're conversing with him, which is why the judge wanted to throw him out of the courtroom because he kept doing that. The way the other juror, I think he was Indian or was he or Middle Eastern or something like that. And baby, there's a culture over there when it comes to women. You think America's bad? Women go through it over there. Okay? But the way he said, I felt like Cassie could have left any time. Did you not see the video of what happens when Cassie tries to leave? She gets punched. She gets kicked. She gets beat up. She gets dragged when she tries to leave. The same video that by court testimony, you all also learned that he was able to bury with $100,000. This is a billionaire. $100,000 ain't nothing. That's how much power he has. And y'all still didn't believe. Y'all still didn't believe these victims on the stand. Just the way that the one girl, the way she kept grinning. You know, he would look at us and, oh yeah, I don't believe that. As she's detailing the way Sean P. Diddy Puffy Brother Love Combs was telepathically speaking to these jurors, and they loved every minute of it. For them, it was a celebrity. It was a chance to make contact with a celebrity. It had nothing to do with holding this man accountable. Those are my thoughts. All right, y'all. Final thoughts on this. Diddy didn't get enough years for me. I saw someone who said, we have to drive a dildo through Diddy's heart like a vampire. That's the only way to get justice. And honestly, 4 years, Diddy ain't get enough years for me. He didn't get enough years for me. I hope with all these pending lawsuits, I hope they are cooking up some disgusting sentences for him. And even with him being in prison, have y'all seen some of the footage of him in prison? That man is having a good old time. That man is he's surrounded by men. He having a good old time, a good old dandy time. A good old dandy time. Okay? He didn't get enough years for me. My heart goes out to every Diddy victim. From the first young lady we meet who was essayed and whose video was shown, down to a Andre Harrell party, to Diddy's mama who he was slapping up and calling a bitch, to Don, to Aubrey, to the Day 26 boys, especially, specifically Q. Kirk Burrows, I think listening to him speak hurt me the most. He had so much accountability, and even in his storytelling of all the things that happened to him, he still had so much grace and poise to me, a level of grace and poise that I don't think I'd ever have given the situation. He reminds me so much of Drew Dixon, who came out and spoke about L.A. Reid, and Russell Simmons. What happened to Kirk Burrows could you imagine, not only suffering sexually, emotionally, mentally, but the finances of it all. And then over the last almost 30 years, just watching what you created turn into $1 billion empire and you have nothing to show for that. I just want y'all to just take a moment and think about that. How devastating that is. And then learning that this man was an essay victim too. It's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And I think another heartbreaking thing too is just seeing the comments. Seeing some of these comments. Seeing how you all really just don't take things like this seriously. And it's only going to get worse. Side note, this whole Diddy ordeal too really helped me think about something that I take very personal. One thing about me is when I know that someone is deviant, demonic, when I know that they're a thief, when I know that they cause harm to others, whether it be physically, sexually, financially, I tend to speak out about that. And what I've learned is that you are really more villainized when you speak out than the actual villain. But my take on that too is the reverse. I really find people who are non-confrontational or it's not my business. I find y'all to be worse. It's like what the young lady said in the beginning when she said, after she was essayed, she was trying to seek help from people. Her mother wrote a letter to P. Diddy's parents about what he did to her daughter, right? And she said how she was met with, well, if I do anything about this, I'm not going to be able to get into the parties. And when I tell you that stuck with me, because that's what it is. Y'all want to be able to get into the parties. Y'all want to be able to hold the bottles in your hand and take the pictures and be at the events more than you want for people to be safe. I hate y'all. I hate y'all. That's why, if you look at me and I don't be in nobody's face. I be just seeing the bullshit. I be just seeing it. And it's none of that is worth a post, an event, a check. None of that is worth it to me. I hate all y'all. Sometimes I hate y'all more than the abuser. because you know that the abuse is happening, yet you keep facilitating it. I hate y'all with every piece of me. I hate y'all. Oh my God, I hate y'all. I hate you people. I hate the abusers, but damn, I hate y'all too. It's like an equal hate. It's like an equal hate for me. I hate y'all. Y'all disgusting to me. Disgusting. Drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. And please, 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 please follow Jess, a couple things, AESS, a couple things on every platform that streams podcasts. Follow me here on my YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care of yourselves and each other.
Chasing me like waterfalls.